Okay, we're live. Hi everyone. Today is March 20th. We have a regular GSoC special interest group meeting. So the purpose of this meeting is to firstly sync up on the GSoC project, including applications, action items on the mentor's side, and also have discussions with students. Right now, from what I see, we have Wuton on the call. The rest of the participants are students. So I think we will just start from Q&A session. And if you get more mentors later, we will just proceed with common status. Okay, I'll just start the screen sharing then. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so let's take a look what we have in GSoC timeline. Actually, applications to GSoC open soon. So you may see that March 25th, it's less than 1 week. It's official period when you can start submitting your applications. But keep in mind that it's just the first time you can do that, but we really suggest to start drafting your applications as soon as possible so that you have more time to discuss it with your mentors and to get your applications reviewed. We have already received around 10 drafts from students, and yeah, we are getting more. So yeah, if you're interested, please do it as soon as possible. That's the main deadline. What else do we have on the schedule? So April 9th, it's within 9 weeks, so within 3 weeks. So it will be a deadline for applications. So everybody should submit the application by this time. If you don't submit, there is no way you apply to the program later. So this is a hard deadline. If you miss that, then yeah, you miss the application. And this is another reason why you should start submitting something earlier so that you have more time in order to discuss and polish your proposal. But if anything goes wrong, you don't miss the application. Usually, yeah, around, yeah, I'm not sure what was statistics from the previous year, but many applications are being submitted over the last couple of hours. And the recommendation is to avoid doing that because, well, the GSoC site is just a site, so it may be easily overloaded, and yeah, better to do it earlier. So yeah, this is the main two incoming dates, and we will be targeting them. And if you're interested, you can find all the project ideas here. So you may see that almost all project IDs are in the published state. We have only one project ID in the draft state, but as we discussed today in Gitter chat, we will be also moving it to published because all comments are addressed. And yeah, you can apply to any project ID. And if you're interested, you can also create your own project ideas. So yeah, this is summary of the current application status. So yeah, we mostly work with students. As we discussed before, we have two regular office hour slots. One is on Tuesday, it's 8 a.m. UTC. Another one is today at 4 p.m. UTC. So it's in 2 hours. But yeah, since we don't have many mentors on this call, we can just proceed with Q&A. Does it sound good to everybody? Okay, so we had a plan to have a discussion about the remoting projects. Maybe we could park it a bit and start from other questions, if there are any.
Yeah, I have a question. So I saw one of the projects on that website you had showed, and I then later saw that I should send like an email to like the Google group saying like I'm interested in it, which I haven't done yet. But I saw that there were like some potential mentors, but there wasn't anyone listed officially. So is that something like those don't get listed until your application gets accepted, or is it just that like that project isn't as well kind of like the initial steps aren't as fleshed out?
No, so I believe it's about installation manager, right?
Sorry, what was that?
It was about this project, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what does the current status mean? You have potential mentors. You're right, there are two mentors. There may be more mentors joining later, but until the project's announced, we will have only potential mentors here. Why? Because it really depends on other applications. It depends on the mentor plans, and you may see here that there is a period between the application deadline and application announcements. Sorry, project announcements. So during this time frame, we will be selecting mentor teams for each project. If we need more mentors, we will be looking for them. So please expect that in every project we will have at least two mentors. And here we just have potential mentors as contacts. So like it's me, but he's probably he cannot join today. But yeah, feel free to reach to this out to these potential mentors. There is a Gitter chat, there is a mailing list, so you can use these contacts in order to reach out. Yeah, you can send a direct email to mentors, but we highly recommend to use these channels because you can get more visibility of your application, more stakeholders, and probably more mentors at some point.
Okay, thank you. And then another question that I had is, so I noticed that the potential mentors were located in Europe and I'm located in the Americas. Have you, in like times past, have you found that, is that a problem, like with students being able to get like the help that they need with the time difference, or is that something that is totally fine? I just wasn't sure if I should take that into consideration when trying to pick my project.
So yeah, it's a part of open source work. The most of open source projects are distributed, and you have to be ready to different time zones. Regarding this particular mentors, I believe it's fine. But yeah, when you apply, it's nice to have some discussion with mentor, so that you make sure that everything is fine. Again, the recommendation is to just ask about it in the discussion, and if mentors are fine, just proceed. Yes, some mentors may have difficulties, so yeah, you won't be able to effectively run the project if we have a student, for example, in Asia, one mentor in Europe, one mentor in Americas, then yeah, it might be a problem. But it's our objective as an organization to find mentors who will be at least who will have some overlap in your time zone, because we need to schedule regular meetings, we need to schedule sync ups, and for that yeah, our objective will be to find good time zone overlap. So in your case, it's not a problem for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, so like I have a few questions, but I was thinking that I should wait for Martin sir so that
Sorry,
I
there
can
are
ask
some
to my proposal
connectivity
can be
issues.
solved. Yeah, so like I am just waiting for him to connect. Like whenever he joins, I'll just start my queries.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we could answer other questions for now. Okay, anything else?
I have one more question. So I saw that there's I guess a couple different means of communication. So there's like Gitter, you have this Google group email, and then also like IRC. So I was just kind of wondering like when each of those is used, or if there's like some community norms about when to use one versus the other, or yeah, I don't know if you have any like feedback on that.
Yeah, we do have RC, but in these projects we target Gitter. So I believe there is no projects using RC right now. RC is still used as official Jenkins communication channel, for example, for governance meetings and for other sync-ups. But yeah, many special interest groups, sub-projects, they actually moved to Gitter. You may see that even here Gitter is now in the top, but yeah. Most probably as a part of your GSoC project, you will not need IRC, but if you want, you are welcome to participate in these channels. And yes, speaking of projects, in each project we have some. Sorry, there is an echo. Yeah, we have some communication channels listed here. So for example, here is freestyle to job to pipeline job converter. You may see that the channels actually link to pipeline authoring special interest group. And there are two channels. One is mailing list, one is Gitter. What to choose? It really depends on your preferences. So we recommend to have longer discussions in mailing lists and runtime discussions in Gitter. So if you need to sync up with your mentors and you know that everybody is online because of the time zone, it's better to use Gitter. If you want to ask for feedback and if you want to have a longer discussion, for example, about technical design, about some decision making, then it's better to use mailing list. But yeah, generally it depends on your choice. What we recommend is to use public channels as much as possible. There are some edge cases where you may need to use a private channel, for example, to discuss your availability with mentors if you have whatever emergency and if you want to notify them, or if you want to escalate issues to work admins, then we use private channels. But for the most of the communications, including project proposal reviews, we recommend using public channels. So please use one of these channels, but which channel to take, it really depends on your preference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Ola, I want to ask this question. So actually, I feel that I mean this year we are moving towards more jitter than mailing list because I feel it's sometimes it's quite difficult to keep check everything on jitter. Can we direct student to I mean for like project discussion everything, I feel that if we use mailing list it will be I mean better and easier to keep track of. Do you have any opinion about this?
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, we have experience. Yeah, actually, we do experience high traffic in the Jenkins GSoC channel. If you participate here, you may see that there is a lot of messages, and it's hard to keep track of the discussions. Unfortunately, it's not Slack, so there is no threads or whatever. And here, I would, as Rutan said, it makes sense to really use mailing list. For other channels, well, as you wish. So if there is no high traffic, maybe Gitter is okay. But yeah, commonly communities recommend using mailing lists for all long-term communications. So if you expect communication to proceed for several days, like review, design discussion, mailing list is highly recommended. But yeah, if you just want to ping somebody for pull request review or something like that, then yeah, Gitter is fine.
Yeah, so I think we should direct the student to use mailing list for like I mean for the next phase of project proposal and kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I feel the norm now is people just go to Jitter and ask. I'm not sure. I actually I don't see much discussion in the mailing list from what I understand.
Yeah, we do have some discussions in the mailing list, but yeah, again, we have multiple mailing lists now. So Yeah, I think it's a fair point. So probably we need to update guidelines to make it explicit. Or maybe Vuitton, you could propose a pull request in our guidelines. Would you be able to do that?
Oh, okay. I just put a note in, so I will submit my pull request.
Yeah. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot for
sure.
that.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
thanks a lot for doing that. If anybody else sees any issues in our student guidelines, or if you want to propose changes, for example, reference additional information, feel free to propose pull requests. So the entire Jenkins website is managed by configuration as code, and you can just submit a pull request to whatever page. Moreover, there is improve this page button. So if you just want to fix a typo or write small text, you can just use this button. So it just opens in GitHub. You can edit something and then propose a pull request. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, so like now, can I ask my questions regarding build discarders?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So like I'd like to share my screen for showing the proposals.
Yeah, please do that. But yeah, again, as we discussed before, it's better to have discussion with mentors. Yeah, so if it's a top level thing, feel free to ask. If it's something about specific details of your project, yeah, I highly recommend to use another channel for that.
Yeah, so like I have few questions regarding to my a particular project only. So like we can have a discussion regarding the uh, your general questions, and after that, if time permits, I can ask my doubts.
Okay, let's finish with general questions. And yeah, okay, let's just do general questions first.
I have another one. So say like our project proposal doesn't get accepted to Google Summer of Code, but we want to keep working on it. So like what would the support look like for that? So like we wouldn't have assigned mentors, but people in the community would still be willing to help with that, or would like the Google Summer of Code projects be prioritized?
Jenkins is a big community. We have several hundreds active contributors, but yeah, we have maybe 1,500 components. So the level of support really depends on the project you work on and on availability of people. Obviously, GSoC mentors will be likely pretty busy with GSoC, but it doesn't mean that you cannot contribute, because we have a special team which helps with code reviews. It's Jenkins CI code reviewers. So if you submit a pull request, you can ask this team to help. The same, we have many people who are interested in providing support to newcomer contributors. And again, you can ask for help then. So yeah, if you're interested to contribute to Jenkins without GSoC, you're more than welcome to do that. In particular areas, it may be easy. In particular areas, it may be quite difficult. So for example, if you propose a pull request to an abundant plugin, which doesn't have MNTR, then yeah, it might be difficult to get feedback and to get your change integrated. If you take an active component, for example, Jenkins core, the most of popular plugins, they're active, then yeah, everything should be fine even outside GSoC. Moreover, you may have seen that now there are sub-projects and also special interest groups. So if you take a project within the interest of special interest group, for example, I'm a leader of a platform group which focuses on packaging, on Docker, on Java support, etc. if you have a project in this area, you are welcome to join our regular meetings, and yeah, you can find a lot of stakeholders there. There are other sub-projects and special interest groups which do the same. So if you work in this area, you will be able to have experience with regular stakeholders participating in the discussion, and we are happy to help you. But yeah, it really depends on your interest. So if you can clarify what would be your interest in for contribution in such a space, maybe I can provide a more detailed advice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So just in case you don't get accepted, asking in the chat will be probably the best starting point. Okay. Other questions? No. I see Martin online. Also Arnab and Bhutan.
Hi, Oleg. Sorry for joining late.
Yeah, no worries. So I think I'll just move the mentor side of the discussion to the mailing list because yeah, I really want to facilitate some discussions and advertisement for GSoC. Yeah, we got a lot of follow-ups, but it still makes sense to outreach to students where we can. Okay, so I think we can just proceed with Q&A. Just a second, I'll check what is my agenda because I have a mess due to the recent time zone change in America. I mean, a bigger mess than usual. Okay, so yeah, I have a meeting starting in 5 minutes. But yeah, maybe Martin, Arnab, you could take over the discussion.
Yeah, I can do that, Oleg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Oleg. Can you repeat again? It wasn't very clear. Are you talking about the next student office hours?
I'm talking about this meeting. So yeah, just
okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I'm there now.
So, yeah, we can continue for another 30 minutes. So probably I'll drop off at some point. But yeah, if Martin is ready to handle the rest of the discussion, it would be perfect. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. And for now, we can just proceed with Q&A. So does anybody have any questions except projects? Okay. Yeah, since we have remoting people on the call, I wanted to ask, what do we do about the remoting discussion? Do we want to have it as a part of this session, or do we want to have a separate meeting for that?
Yeah, so if the question is short, I think we can discuss on this call. One of your team need to wait from the student. Are you on the call?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about remoting specifically because it's a time zone issue. So the student is, yeah, I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly. It's,
His name is the last one, Long. Are you on?
Okay, so can I discuss about the project proposal for emoting over Kafka ideas?
Mm-hmm.
So they have some points here, but most of them are pretty brief, and I'm pretty confused about how to integrate remoting over Kafka with Kubernetes. More specifically, like implement connector logic using credentials from Kubernetes. Can you explain in more detail?
You mean credentials management, right?
Here implement connector logic using credential from Kubernetes.
Oh, right. So in Kubernetes, there is an existing engine for managing secrets. And what you would be interested in is if you provision a Jenkins cluster from using Kubernetes, for example, in a simple Kubernetes code, you should be able to somehow automate the credentials management. One of the ways is to just pass secrets in between instances. Another one is to configure Apache Kafka instance properly. So the idea that if you manage this infrastructure from Jenkins, it would be nice if you could manage credentials as well, so that everything is automated.
Okay, thank you. And how about automated provisioning of Kafka cluster? Does it mean like Jenkins will start Kafka cluster automatically or something?
Yeah, right. So how could it be done? Yeah, if you use Kubernetes, again, you can provision multiple containers. So it would be interesting to have, for example, Helm charts or whatever, which would allow to provision Jenkins with Kubernetes cluster, with automatic provisioning of agents, with Apache Kafka plugin. So just to have a way which automatically provisions the entire instance and which will be configured out of the box. It's one of the ways to do that. Another way is to be able to provision Apache Kafka from Jenkins master. So for example, you start master in Kubernetes, and then you can use kubectl or whatever in order to provision Apache Kafka instances from the plugin. So both ways could be used, and yeah, it depends on your proposal.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And the last one is create a reference Kubernetes definition and Helm chart for the Kafka system. Yeah,
so this is what
like this line create reference Kubernetes definition and Helm chart. Can you explain this in more detail?
Okay, are you familiar with Helm?
I'm not sure. I think Helm is like a configuration to start a Kubernetes cluster or something like that.
Exactly.
Right?
So Helm is a kind of package manager, but for Kubernetes. So what we could do that we could create a chart. We could define Jenkins with agents, with Apache Kafka. So having an option to provision it as a system with all the integrated components. So
I see.
Yeah, it would require some definition in Helm. Maybe it will require some coding in Groovy, for example, configuring of components, like you need to pre-configure Apache Kafka somehow, you need to pre-configure Jenkins, you need to pre-configure agent provisioning, and yeah, it can be a part of the project if you're interested.
Oh, I see. Yeah, thank you. I think that's all my question. Okay, thank you.
Ola, I have a question on the Kubernetes one. So this is not related to Jenkins X at all, right?
Yeah, so we are talking about Jenkins here, but if you want to propose the same for Jenkins X, it might be also possible. But yeah, Jenkins X is out of the scope in my mind.
Okay.
If students are interested to propose this project ID or any other project ID for Jenkins X specifically with Jenkins X flavor, you're more than welcome to do that, and we will do our best to help to find mentors from Jenkins X community. Now, Jenkins X is, it's a sub-project in Jenkins, but it's a pretty much isolated community right now. And if you heard about CDF, you may see that these two separate projects from CDF standpoint. But again, if you are interested about something specific in Jenkins X, it's something we are happy to help organize.
And then the development of this phase of remoting Kafka, we should develop develop it in such a way that it's still backward compatible. Right? It means after we develop the creative feature for this way, I mean the old feature will still work.
Yes. So from
what I understand.
Remoting for Apache Kafka plugin, it would be great to retain compatibility with what we have now. Well, generally, if there is real need to break compatibility, it's something which can be discussed with plugin maintainers, Wutan in this case. But yeah, retaining compatibility is always interesting in terms of Jenkins ecosystem. So if you can do changes by, for example, introducing more extension points, more flexibility to components, it's something which is recommended. Okay. So if there is nothing else about this project, I suggest continuing in the chat for it specifically. So I'll probably mute myself on the call. And yeah, Martin, you can just continue the discussion, and yeah, I will make sure to join the next meeting.
Okay, thanks, Oleg.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. So I'm still around to keep the recording, but yeah, most likely you'll be missing what is being discussed.
Okay. Okay, so are there other questions related to the organization, related to the process, how to join, how to participate, etc.? Okay, so it sounds like there's no questions related to the process or to participating in Summer of Code. So then I would like to open the floor to questions from students regarding their specific proposals. But for that purpose, I would like to give the opportunity to people who are new, who are first time joining or second time joining the call to speak first.
I can go if nobody else wants to.
Yes.
Okay. So the project that I was interested in is the plugin installation manager CLI tool/library. And so I, read the doc. So there's like these different existing implementations. And then I think that I was just a little bit confused about like kind of so the goal of this is to basically try to have a lot of these plugins installed before Jenkins even starts. Is that correct?
Let me quickly look at the project description here. I think you're right. That's the general idea, is to be able to install plugins from the command line, sort of before Jenkins goes to production for its users.
Okay, and then so I saw, okay, so I like installed Jenkins, and then I also saw that there's so I'm kind of new to Docker too, so you can also like install like this Docker image of it. And so I was kind of wondering like what the difference between the two is, and like when you would want to use like this Docker image versus installing it other ways.
Okay, so I'm not too sure. Well, obviously there's a difference between Jenkins in a Docker image and Jenkins sort of standalone outside of Docker, but the difference it's not major. It's more the way Jenkins is packaged. So I'm just going over the. Let me share my screen. I'm going over the project description here. So there's existing implementations. Okay. There's official Docker images, configuration as code. There's also a REST API for installing plugins. Let's see if it is mentioned here. Yes, so there's a REST API for installing plugins, which means plugins could be sort of written, like the list of plugins could be written as text input, and then a script could read that list and simply call the REST API on that list. But that's fairly simplistic. We cannot say that it's an entire project like that. So who are the mentors here? Baptiste and Oleg. So have you tried pinging Baptiste in the chat?
No, not yet. I'm still kind of getting into this. So yeah, I can do that next.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is valid for all the students. Do not hesitate to ping the mentors that are listed in the project documents.
Yeah, they'll be able to clarify a lot of what they're asking and maybe help kind of you generate your proposal.
Okay, thanks. So maybe it makes more sense for me to just interact via that channel, and I can, give, like, if anyone else has questions, they can go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so like now can I ask a few questions regarding build discarder, Martin sir?
Yes, let's try to keep it to 10 minutes this time, and to make sure we have time for the other students. And go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so like I would like to share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I have a few doubts in my proposal, that's why. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So like first of all, like as you clear that the keep forever, the feature should be there in all the code, right? So like what I am proposing the proposal is, yes, it would be available in the plugin. So like that feature would be there in the plugin and it can be used anywhere where the user wants to use. And I have added this compatibility feature in the synopsis part so that it could be there at the first of the proposal. I hope.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So like now I
You
can
can
resolve
resolve.
this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Then okay. Yeah. So like there was a doubt that what do you mean by four parts? Right? Like four actions. So like what I am doing is that this project what like I am just dividing this project into the four parts. Like the first part can be a part of complete filters and the actions and all that Java, and like all that coding. And after that the second part can be the integration of that all filters and actions with the external workspace manager. Then the third part can be the uh, just adding like just integration of this plugin with the mm, like with the this multi-branch pipeline, and also adding the feature of builds that leads to production. Though like there are so like here there is no for extension all that, but I thought that this can be the four main features in which I can just divide my project. So,
Yep.
and
Yes, I understand. I wanted to clarify, and you have clarified it. So that's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
now
can
I
resolve
can,
this.
yeah. Thank you.
My
So,
comment here, I only have one comment, is there's 3 coding periods, and
yeah,
now you have divided your proposal
work.
into 4 parts. So you
Oh,
might
yeah.
find it easier to try to divide it in 3 parts.
Four
But
parts. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
it's up to you to assign the parts to the coding periods. It's up.
Yeah, so like actually what I thought that there are three coding periods given. So I thought that I should divide my timeline accordingly rather than my project parts. And that's why I have, made timeline according to the coding period given to us.
Yes.
That is phase one, phase two, and phase three.
Yes.
So
It's just a
like if you
it's just
want, then I can also change my timeline.
it's just a comment I have. You might find it easier to organize the projects in 3 parts because there's 3 coding periods. But in the
Okay,
end,
yeah.
it's up to you. This is
No,
just
like
my thing.
yeah, sure.
You,
So
you don't
yeah,
have
so
you
like
don't you don't have to you don't have to split it in 3 parts. That's just
a suggestion.
that's just a suggestion, but it's up to
Yeah.
you. So you can do
Uh,
what you want.
no, so like I'll just merge this part of a feature of that builds that lead to production. I'll just add this part to the first feature of like the main plugin part. So like I'll just continue that third part here only, so that it can be you know go together. And
Yeah,
so
it's up to you.
yeah, yeah, sure, I'll just do that. Okay, yeah, so like I'll just change that. And okay, so one more question. Yeah, so here it's so like you have given a suggestion that does this advanced build discarder can be implemented as a base filter class, and we can have many classes of different filters and different actions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so like what I have done is that I have added both the ideas that different classes can be made of filters and the actions, and also different methods can be made of like both of these, so that we can just decide a concrete way in uh, the community bonding period.
Okay. Yep.
So like I'll just resolve this comment right now. I hope it is fine.
So in general, when you resolve comments, try to incorporate the discussion in the document itself. So for example, this one.
Yeah, so like I have added this point, in the proposal.
Right, but it's not added where the comment was made, but
Okay.
that's okay, it's there.
So, like, I just want, the implementation part to be more clear. Like suppose if I will, just add this sentence after this, then, there may be confusion to few of the mentors, like, what exactly I need to do is not, much clarified to me. So that's why I've written them in 2 points, that one way is to make classes and one way is to make methods.
Yeah, that's fine. You can resolve it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is also I think much more clear that actions are not involved in the filters, and the options of filters will be given to the users, followed by the option of actions. So this is not the final UI. The final UI will be a drop down menu, but like first of all, like filter one can be selected like number of builds or number of days, and followed by that the user need to choose one action that he need to discard or not to discard. After that, the user need to configure filter 2, and after that he need to configure the action 2. So that actions are not involved in the filters, and both the choices are given to the user so that he can get more flexibility about his chain.
Yes. Yeah, you can resolve that too.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah. So like now, I think that's also consistent. So I can. What one doubt is that, yeah. So here you just asked that please present the pipeline DSL syntax for this. So do you mean by that? Should I give some pipeline code samples in the proposal, or like I am not much cleared by your comment?
Yes, if you can provide some pipeline examples of what you think it will look like in the Jenkins pipeline. That's going to help. That's going to help you a lot with regards to defining what needs to be done.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So I'll just add that. And yeah, so like now here you haven't out that so what actually I understood with my study was that some users define multiple workspaces in the Jenkins file, and they use that workspaces parallelly. So now builds are created in that multiple workspaces. So now if a user just use a single workspace, then we can discard that build easily by getting the root directory by only just calling one method. But if there are multiple workspaces defined in the Jenkins file running parallelly, for that I have written the implementation that we can use fingerprinting, and by that we can get each workspace ID, and by using that we can get the path of workspace and the other details through which we can just delete the builds from that workspaces.
Well, yes. Let me read this again.
Yeah.
Okay, it's your comment that I did. I replied to where you say user can define multiple workspaces in Jenkins file. That is fine. And then you say, so we need to discard build from all that workspaces. So in Jenkins, the build itself is part of the build history. It's also called a run,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
we can call it a build. And it's these build objects. After they're run, they become they have a run wrapper, and it's the build object that contains the workspaces, whereas your sentence implies the other way around. Your sentence implies that workspaces contain builds, workspaces contain build data, but build objects contain workspaces. Actually, build objects have a reference to the fingerprint, and the fingerprint, build object have a reference to workspaces, but there's also but workspaces are registered with fingerprints. So let's say two builds share the same workspace. Then if you delete the build, you cannot delete the workspace because there's another workspace that refers to that. There's another build that refers to that workspace. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I just wanted that to be clear.
Okay. So, like, can you just tell that why, where I've written that the workspace includes the builds, like in the comment or in the proposal I have written? I can't find that
You
line.
wrote that in the comment right there on your screen at the top. Oops.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So user, okay. So when you discard build from, okay. Yeah.
When you say need to discard builds from the workspace, it sounds
Yeah.
like the workspace contains the build.
Content builds. Yeah.
That's what
I got that.
confused me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like, I just clear it once more that, yeah. So, like, for deleting a build, we need the data of its root directory, right? So, and for that, we need few data of that workspace. So, and that's why I include, like, that's why I wrote the fingerprinting implementation through which we can get the workspace ID and all the other details, and by that information we can just delete the builds. So yeah, like I think by this implementation we can delete the workspace and the builds too, like what I think is, I'm not clear, but what I think right now is that we can discard both the workspace and the builds, both by this implementation.
Okay, so maybe you want to clarify that a little bit, clarify the wording a little bit in this paragraph, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 6 minutes left to this specific call. There's another call at 11 for students, so I will remain on that call. But before we end, I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to ask additional questions. So Nisarg, if you could, we can take it offline, or I can help you a little bit later. Just want to make sure everybody has time to speak.
Sure.
And if no one speaks, then okay. So let's just, I don't know if Li Vu or Vu Tuan or Yun Chan have questions, or maybe Arnab.
Oh, nothing from my side, Martin. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Martin sir, can we just have a separate meeting for this discussion if possible? Like because I am mostly done with my implementation part, and only uh, I need to just clarify a few things to the mentors which is written in my proposal. So like if possible, and if
Yeah, can we use the next office hours, which starts in a couple of minutes?
1 hour. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I see that Prastik just joined.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So actually, I wanted to ask questions regarding to the artifact promotion plugin. So can I ask this question to you, or should I wait for Oleg, sir?
Okay, so who are the mentors on that one? Just a second.
The mentors. Actually, the mentors are not present right now. So.
Okay. Have you tried pinging the mentors, Klaus, Mike Long, and Oleg for this?
Yes, sir. I have recently pinged Mike Long, sir. So, like, should I schedule this QA session for the next session, or like, should I ask right now?
You can ask. I'm not sure I can answer.
So,
the
like,
best people are the mentors. Yeah.
Okay, like actually, I'll just like ask like a small fraction of what I will be asking in the next session. Like it is a UI implementation. Like it also like this project resides also heavily on the UI implementations. So I just wanted to confirm that my project, that my UI vision is correct. Just it will just take 1 or 2 minutes. So can I show that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I can answer properly.
Okay, I'll just share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so is it visible? Okay.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
So this is the like the home page of Jenkins, right? So like, for instance, if I introduce the new like promoted plugin that supports both the pipeline and the freestyle projects, then like how like Alexa has said that I should be creating a new job for that, new job for the promotion itself. So would it look like this? Like I just go into the new item section. So is it visible?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So I just go into the new item section, right? Okay. So like there's an enter an item name, right? So if I introduce the new plugin, would it be the case that there would be like similar to the freestyle projects, there would be something like promotion plugin or like promotion of artifacts, like a simple a different kind of job? Like would it stay in this section? That I wanted to ask. Like he said that we need to introduce a new job. So like new job, that new job, would it reside in this place? Like
okay, just a minute. Let me look at the proposal itself, at the project idea.
okay, the proposal says that like get rid of all the built-in promotion plugins and introduce a new standalone plugin. And I discussed this thing further with Alexa, and he said that you need to introduce a new job, an entirely new job. And I just wanted to ask that would that new job be residing at this place? Like
I think the answer is yes.
okay, like for instance, I just go into the main section, I just build a project. Okay, I just create a new item, I upload all the necessary codes, and just when the time comes after the build, if I want to promote things, rather than going to the configure section and promote builds, would it be the case that I would go into the job and promote the builds? Or
it sounds like it, yes. If it's
okay,
a separate job, then the job has to run to promote the, the build.
Like this is build #1, right? So this is the first build. Like if I want to promote this thing, like I'll just go into the promotion status, promotion status, like inside configure.
Oh.
Wait, the internet is really slow. So I go inside the configure section and promote builds and give all the necessary conditions for upstream or downstream conditions to promote the build, right? Like this.
Well,
Like
that I'm not sure.
Like this promote builds when this section would just be shifted to the next job. Is it what it meant by the proposal? Like this promote builds when this all section would be migrated to the new job.
I think yes.
Okay, like
but you should really be checking with the mentors on this.
Okay. Last question is like job literally means the project, right? New item means job. It translates to new item, or is it there's something other something like job inside the code? Job literally means like projects, na sir?
Yes. Okay. So in Jenkins, in terms of terminology, job and project mean the same thing. It is something you can run, something you can execute.
Okay.
And then to complete the terminology, when people talk about builds and runs, they talk about the specific builds of a given project or a given job. So builds create a build history, and the jobs are definition of a generic definition for all the builds it can produce.
Okay, so it would mean the same thing. Create a new job, new section where the pipeline and the freestyle projects will be accessed.
Yes, I think what you were showing earlier in the new type of job, when you click the new item, it would be a new type of job, and the type would be promotion.
Okay,
That's
so
what I
like
gather from reading like the first 10 lines of the project idea.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm this thing because if the UI gets screwed up, then like the backend won't work. So that's why I just wanted to confirm this. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'll confirm this in the next session with Oleg, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I don't know if Oleg's gonna join to end this this session. I think it's best if we find a way to end this call and start a new call, except I'm not sure how to start the new call yet. I have some notes here on how to do that.
Okay, so Oleg sir won't be joining us in the next QA session.
He will not?
Will he join in the next session, Oleg sir, my mentor?
I'm not sure. I think he said he'd be back.
Okay, I will. He just said I will.
Okay, so Oleg, do you want me to end this session right now and start the new one?
I think the next QA session is after 1 hour.
Oh, there's another hour? Oh.
4 p.m. UTC was the exact time.
Yeah,
sorry.
We will have another session in 1 hour.
We changed the daylight time here. So, just a minute. I can only attend the first 45 minutes of the next session then.
Okay, so anyway, we'll be able to drive the entire session and we will be able to discuss the remaining topics today.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot to everybody for participating. And yeah, again, please use Maven, please, and Gitter to ask technical questions. It will be more effective. And yeah, let's use these sessions mostly for remaining questions and maybe some project-specific sync-ups, but yeah, just as a last resort. Okay, thanks everybody.
Okay.
I'll stop the broadcast.
Thank you.